What's something you hate to see parents do? Blame their child for their situation. Example, my boyfriend's parents treat him like crap because they had him in their early 20s and because of that missed out on what they considered their life, so they treat him like crap. Are constantly disapproving and condescending and generally just closed off and emotionally unavailable. He's dealt with this his whole life, it's so sad. At least he has you now, I'm sure you've made him much happier. Police their kids' likes and dislikes. I worked in a bookstore and almost every day some little kid would run in and grab a book and start looking at it, only for the parent to say, "Oh sweetie, that's a dinosaur book. You don't like those. Here's a princess one instead." Or some parent would ask me for suggestions for nice books because all their 8-year-old wants to read is Captain Underpants. Let them like what they like. Turn the children against the other parent. This was my childhood. I hate that crap. When they use the common saying of kids don't care about that stuff. Yay, kids do care. They have feelings and needs and wants. They are tiny human beings. They do care if you don't buy them decent clothing or make them look presentable. They do care if you act too over the top to be the cool mom. They do care if you aren't there enough. They do care if you don't clean the house. They do care if you don't cook. I see so many negligent parents with the attitude that kids don't care about this in the long run to excuse their laziness. Trust me, they know if their house is a pig pen compared to their friends, and they do care. The pig pen one hits home. Treat kids as somehow lesser. My dad was very strict. Imagine a slightly less regimented boot camp. On top of that, our stepmom was an invasive bee. It wasn't uncommon to come home to find our rooms having been tossed by her or see her listening through the door to eavesdrop on private conversations monologues. We were the ones who cared for the house while they lounged around. We weren't abused by my dad and we did have nice things, but he treated us as lesser beings just because we were kids for a long time, and that bred a lot of resentment. Kids understand far more than a lot of people realize. You can explain to them why the rules are the way they are. You can have normal conversations with them. Anytime our dad commanded or forbid us, we would wonder why. If we asked or suggested, argued something different, it was either because he said so or we were being horribly disrespectful. Eventually my brother and I started acting out because we were P and didn't see any other reason than him being an butt, so we did things we wanted to do anyway. Unfortunately my brother never grew out of that and has been in and out of jail throughout his adult life. I went into education with this experience, and when a kid asked me why they couldn't do something, I explained it as I would go a fellow adult. Sometimes I had to simplify things, but the kids always listened and understood, and I very rarely had any issues with them. Though if I talk to my dad about this tactic now, he laughs and says if I keep it up then kids will be walking all over me. There is a distinct line between being in charge of them and being a tyrannical butthole just because I can be. Something I really wish he and others understood. Not discipline their kids. As a retail employee, seeing kids run rampant around the store is so frustrating and annoying. The kids will be fooling around, playing with stuff in the store while their parents are on the other side of the store looking at shoes. On the other side of things, over-disciplining kids. If a kid asks for something or does something wrong, and the parent just explodes at them, it makes my blood boil. It's especially bad when you know the family and you know it's not a one-off thing. Cursing at their kids, calling them names and generally being verbally abusive. Rewarding bad behavior as well as not properly explaining to their children the whys of life. Because I said so is not something that works on its own and is not the best way to teach younger generations respect. Dump them off at the electronics section of a depth store. No one at Walmart is paid to babysit your crappy kids. I keep getting "but I wanted to be there," or "but I was a good kid." I don't care, your parents suck. The WM I worked at would have at least one code Adam a week due to some frick stick ditching their kids and expecting them to be where they left them when they were done shopping, and on several occasions, I have seen the electronics associates being bawled out by a crappy parent because their kid left the area and went to toys or some crap. So I reiterate, no one at Walmart is paid to watch your damned kids. No one. Keep track of your children and hopefully they won't end up on a milk carton. Oh hey, my childhood. Also, once when I was 6, my father took me to Mejia's and told me to go pick out a toy from the toy aisle and he'll be waiting for me in electronics. He ended up leaving me there in ditching state. Let their child get horribly fat at a super young age and blame it on the kid's appetite or metabolism. Teaching children their lazy existence. For instance, I recently watched a parent tell their kid who was returning the cart their parent used to the cart corral, but the parent told them not to worry about it, and that someone else would get it. I gasped and looked at the parent speechlessly, but I'm afraid I unfortunately embarrassed the child more than the parent. Yeah, someone else will get it after it's already smashed into a car. They put those cart returns in the middle of the parking lots for a reason. A few extra feet of walking won't kill anyone. This subject gets me so upset. Ugh. Not giving their kids proper physical ed that isn't given through their school. I got what I like to call Mean Girls physical ed. For those unfamiliar with the movie, the gym teacher says phrases like if you frick you will get pregnant and die while teaching physical ed. And if not for Google I'd have no sense of how anything about my body or fricking really worked. Educate your kids. My talk came too late, so it basically got cut down to don't trust them to use protection. Always use a condom. If you have a kid you're going to take care of it, which means no college, straight to workforce. Don't make stupid decisions about who you sleep with, which really was probably a much better talk than a lot of people get. It's okay, we can go out and do whatever if we want because our eldest will look after and take care of the younger ones. It's not your child's freaking job to be a parent. I lived this life all throughout high school. It was the absolute worst. I could never make plans whenever. I always had to check whether I would have to babysit. Give in to them when they throw a tantrum. So I have a girlfriend. We are pretty serious and are about to graduate. We've been with each other for 4 years. But I freaking hate her mom and so does she. Her mom is a clean control freak and anything she does is wrong. Even if it is right. It honestly pisses me off when I'm FaceTiming her and her mom comes in screaming at her for, not kidding, her phone being plugged in at 100% will make her phone catch on fire. And the worst part is she acts like a nice lady in person, but when there isn't a guest there, she is just completely rude to my GF and I know there ain't crap I can do about it. Not to mention, she won't let us hang out more than once a week because her and my GF don't spend enough time together as they should. I freaking hate it. Love the girl to the bottom of my heart. Hate her mom. TL. DR. I hate control freak parents and ones that act different with guests. RA said narcissists. Your GF needs support from this sub. Judging their kids for innocently liking something. For example, like a hobby such as acting or a sport. I know this isn't super relatable, but when I see parents at the top of Grouse Mountain in Beaver Creek, you have to ski past 3 different experts only signs to get there, and they ask me what the easiest way to get down is because their kids can't ski well. When they let kids play games in public with the volume on full blast, just mute it. I actually ranted about this on Facebook and it was the best bad parent filter. 3 angry parents got really upset with me and their argument was, would you rather have a screaming kid? I used to volunteer at a heavily understaffed charity daycare for low-income families in Singapore and we frequently took these 2-3-year-olds out. We had to train them to be able to help out with grocery shopping and learn to take public transportation on their own without adult supervision. Never had an issue with screaming kids. Smoking in a car while their kids are in the car. I am a smoker and don't like kids, but I would never do that. I remember kids in school making fun of me because I smelled like smoke. Once I asked my mom to stop, she said don't take my only joy away from me. Of course she doesn't remember it and now has copped. Blaming schools for their kids' ineptitude. I've seen this both ways. I've had some really crap teachers and some great ones. I think you have to take it on a case-by-case basis. It's not always the school, but it's not always the kid either. Doing everything for their kids. It's great to help guide them through life, but constantly doing every single thing for them is a good way to ensure that they'll be codependent as adults and not learn from their own experiences. Retail worker here, not paying attention to their kids. I'll be pulling a pallet that weighs between 1-3,000 lbs. I'm a 135-pound girl. How hard is it for me to stop a pallet I wasn't carefully controlling? Very. What do I do if a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old dart in front of me? I have time to move it or slow it down because I've been on the lookout for small children this entire time, scanning my surroundings. I teach the new hires this too. Always pay attention to upcoming aisles and look for small children because no joke they will appear out of what seems like freaking nowhere. This is fine. They are kids. They do not know what they are doing. Most of the observant parents will notice right away that their kid isn't freaking paying attention and will discipline them appropriately and explain that they need to stay nearby to them. They try to apologize to me usually, or even thank me for being on the lookout and keeping the kids safe. These are the good parents. The bad ones, though, the bad ones are the ones that, when I've already become aware of their kids playing recklessly in front of me with a pallet that literally weighs at least 10x what I do and is moving towards them, and they do not care or do anything to try and keep them safe. That's when I stop the pallet and just wait for them to leave before moving it again, because obviously the parents have not instilled any sense of safety in those kids at all, nor do they know how to protect them, and so I have no way to predict what they will do next. Those are the ones that I just stand and wait and give a silent SMH to. Usually for some reason these parents are also the ones too busy looking at a heated yoga mat, or ice cream for dogs, or other completely unnecessary crap, to pay attention to their own children. I feel bad for the kids at that point, and that's why I make an extra effort to, well, not run them over. People kinda suck. Stop paying attention to each other because they have kids. I saw a commercial once that said something akin to "your child is your real soulmate." It depressed me. Nothing sets children and parents up for worse heartache than making their children the absolute center of everything. I work at a rock climbing gym and teach little kids. I hate to see parents yelling at their kids to get up the wall or literally pushing them up. Kids need to go at their own pace. Eventually it will click and they will be a lot more comfortable on the wall. But parents pushing and yelling doesn't help them. It turns it into a very stressful ordeal. I'm not giving them prizes for nothing or telling them that they are the best climbers ever. They go as high as they can and then help them go a little higher than they thought they could. That's really all they need to be happy and confident. And also, when parents push their kids up the wall, occasionally they freak out and latch on. To get down they have to let go of the wall, but they're so high up they refuse. So someone has to climb up and either talk to them or muscle them off the wall. It's their first go, just let them have fun. I remember I was sitting in an airport playing on my phone, waiting for me and my family's flight. A boy, maybe 8-10 years old, came up to me and said, "Can I play on your phone?" I didn't say anything, and the mother was standing right beside him, looking expectingly at me. He asked me again and I said sorry, but it's my phone, and walked to my flight with my parents. What kind of person expects someone to do that? It's my property. Feed their kids all the bad crap they shouldn't. No wonder your kid doesn't like drinking water after 10 years of non-stop sodas. I was at a friend's house and he was Skyping a friend of his. His friend was calling his kid a freaking idiot and a waste for not wanting to use the bathroom or something. The kid was like 8. I was like, hey, why don't you stop freaking playing video games and go help your kid and be a parent? My buddy after the call was just like, yeah, he's like that. And I was like, what a freaking abusive douche. Force their kids to hug people they don't want to. Some family members didn't deserve my hug. Parents who play tricks on their kids. I'm talking about tricks in which the kids end up crying and the parents don't realize they went too far and justify it by saying the kid won't remember. Sometimes they do remember. They'll remember when it's on Jimmy Kimmel's channel forever. It's not that I hate, but it annoys me when parents tell a lot of little lies to their kids. Like, we are going to see grandma when going to the pediatrician, or if you don't eat all your food the mean guy next door will steal you. The kids will grow not fully trusting them, and afterwards they won't believe serious stuff like smoking can kill you or unprotected fricking is dangerous. What? Those aren't small lies. Taking their kids into public places and then just letting them run wild while they pay zero attention. Young kids are 10x worse at flushing toilets than any homeless person that's used the bathroom at my tennis courts. If you're in the bathroom with your kid and you don't hear a toilet flush, then for the love of God just double check. punish the kids and not tell them why they are being punished. From the kids' point of view, their parent just punished them for no reason whatsoever. I hate when the parent tries to humiliate a kid and make the kid feel self-conscious about something that happened that you shouldn't fault them for and that doesn't matter much. While shopping, I recently heard what sounded like the end of an argument incident of sorts. From what I overheard, a very young kid let go of his father's hand, hit his head somehow, and was crying. Note, I never saw the family and I walked in after the incident happened, so I don't know how it happened or what particular did happen. Anyways, the mother was concerned about the kid and sounded like she was consoling the kid. The father said he shouldn't have let go of my freaking hand. It's not my fault he hurt himself like an idiot. The mother asked, how could he say that? He's only X years old. The father responded with something like, don't freaking talk back to me like that in public. And he goes on a bit more talking about that. I'm sure I'm misremembering some of the words, but I know it made me feel incredibly bad hearing it. It's probably an abusive relationship from how I interpret it. I hear things like this surprisingly often when shopping. I feel bad for kids that grow up in these relationships, but I bring this up mainly for ridiculing the kid to make him feel self-conscious about their mistakes and will focus on that. I didn't have parents that did this to me when I was younger. I can't imagine how it would feel to have a parent do it to you constantly and the problems that will arise in the kid's life because of it. Lie to their kids to get them to behave. I get it. You don't want your kid to misbehave, but telling them that when they're bad, you'll send them to foster care is fricked up. I don't give a crap if it takes longer to explain to them why their behavior is unacceptable or how it hurts you or others. You have a kid. Save the shortcut explanations for panhandlers and Jehovah's Witnesses. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.